Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Jude Rhodes, and I'm a family and local historian in Yorkshire. Today, we're going to have some fun looking at Monopolise Your Place. I'll be explaining what we do for this as we go through the slides. So there's two ways to monopolise your place. Monopolise means to have control, excluding others. Well, we can't exclude others from our place, but we can certainly take control of how we want to do our history of a place with a one-place study. And monopolise, for this I mean to create a resource based on the Monopoly board game. So a resource for your one-place study. So have fun and find your own equivalent to Mayfair, Old Kent Road and the Waterworks. If you were designing a Monopoly board game of your place of interest, I wonder what it would look like. The original board game was developed in 1906 and called the Landlord's Game, aiming to explain Henry George's single tax theory from his book Progress and Poverty. So there was a social element to this. In the Monopoly board game, houses are categorised by colour according to the value of property from the lowest to the highest. Generally, the brown houses are the poorer houses, terraced houses with no garden perhaps. And then there's other colours of light blue, pink, orange, red, yellow, green. And then the dark blue, these were the large houses, probably with a bit of an estate, standing in their own grounds. So to create a resource based on Monopoly of your place of interest, we'll follow some steps. So first of all, choose your place. A town, village or a district of a city works well. Decide on a time period. So perhaps a decade in the mid-1880s to the 1900s would work well. The only reason for saying that is that then you can look at earlier and later developments for the same place. Find a suitable map. This needs to be detailed enough to see the streets and the buildings on the map. The National Library of Scotland town plans or the Ordnance Survey 25-inch maps work very well. So here's an example of a town plan. This is in Leeds in Yorkshire, and I'm going to show you the different types of houses within this map. So first of all here, we've got some back-to-back houses in a terrace with no garden. They've got a yard, so that's one category. Then we have some larger terraced houses that have a garden. Next, a detached house. A lot of these detached houses, certainly in the north, were known as villas. And then we've got, the top of the range, large detached with its own grounds. So that gives you an idea of how we can categorise different houses. And we will be looking at colour coding these depending on the type of house. So here we have an example of an OS 25-inch map. This is of the village where I live in Gressington in North Yorkshire. And it's good in that we can see reasonable detail. We've got the buildings marked and we can see quite clearly there the hall, which would be the very top of the range building in my village. So this is the type of map you want to be looking for. I always use the National Library of Scotland. They've got a fabulous resource. So we come to the next steps now. I'm presuming that you've already researched your place of interest, or you may be planning to. And while doing so, note and identify the different style and sizes of houses, which you can then classify by estimated price or condition at the time. The next step, step 5, is to choose, I would say, no more than 3 or 4 classifications. That seems to work well. So you're going to choose 3 or 4 colours. Then you colour code those classifications with the colours you have chosen. Now the fun really starts with the final step. Colour the buildings by category. You can do this on your computer. You could do it, with pen and pencil, crayons and the paper map, whichever way you find best for you. So now we've got the map of Gressington again, and I have started to colour code. The old hall that I mentioned earlier here is now in dark blue because that is the colour I've chosen for my largest, most prestigious houses. And then I have also got these crammed in together tiny cottages at the time, so I've colour coded those brown. And we can see in between there's orange and there's green. Monopoly boards also have services, pubs and railway stations, so go for the whole thing and add your waterworks, your jail. For my village, there's a water pump where the old water trough was, the communal water trough. You may have a jail in your area. In my village, it was a lockup, which is shown by this barred window here, which still exists today. Not as a lockup, I hasten to add. So see how your place changes over time by colour coding some key properties in your place and plotting them on a map. Allows you to see at a glance the financial status of areas within your place and see how this changes over time. Use different maps, earlier maps, later maps, and you'll also see the growth of a place, or even where there's been slum clearance and different buildings in their place. As I've mentioned, the Monopoly board also has services. So what evidence is there of services in your place? When did the railways arrive? Is there still a railway there? Electricity, was there a supply, and where did it come from prior to the national grid? Maps and colours at the ready. Go ahead and monopolise your place. As well as having fun, this project helps to provide a focus on the variation of housing and wealth, when services such as electricity, plumbing, railways arrived, where the jail was, and you can also plot the pubs over time. I think this is the perfect way to involve younger people to gain an understanding of the local history of a place of interest. Thank you so much for listening, and I would love to see your maps on All About That Place Facebook page. There is also a resource in the All About That Place workbook. And if you would like a handout or more information, please email me at storiesofourgenerations@gmail.com. Have fun and thank you.